It's starting to look like this Santa rally came a little bit late, and now we're starting to see max bidding in BTC. So we're going to cover some of these CPI headlines here. What do we expect to happen today and the potential outcomes of this next major print? So just looking across the Bitcoin chart here, you can see today I've marked off as green. CPI number is released. Remember, this is a number that is already known by many, but gets released to the public in just a few hours' time. Then we have later in the month major catalysts as well. Earnings for in the gray, we have Tesla, and in the white we have Apple. That is the 25th and 26th of January respectively. And then the FOMC decision, what will be the interest rate change around the 1st of February. So the number printed today will of course affect that. The expectation would be 25 basis points at this moment in time, and that's seemingly what the market is pricing in. So as long as CPI comes in a bit cooler, then this rally may well extend here, but if it does come in hot, we could see a mass sell-off in the markets. Now there's a lot of salt out there, as many people are sidelined at this moment in time and do not like to see the rally. But if we just flip this inverse, this chart again looks like it wants to come down here. Down would therefore be higher BTC prices and maybe come and test some of these levels across here, talking around 19,200 and even into the $20,000 territory. So on TradingView, just use Alt and I and you can see the inverse correlation. And I think this is very helpful for just changing your perspective on things if you have a bit of a bias in the market. Now, these are the forecasts from some of the major banks. Deutsche Bank thinks we're going to see the drop in year-over-year headline inflation from 7.1% down to 6.3%. ANZ thinks it's going down to 6.7%. Not sure where they got this quote from 7% of last year. ING from 7.1 down to 6.6, and then Wells Fargo matching up here with Deutsche Bank, 7.1 down to a read of 6.3%. They say we estimate CPI fell 0.2% in December, bringing the year-over-year rate down to a 14-month low of 6.3%. This was just shared by Wi-Fi Alpha, which is from Bloomberg, JP Morgan's expectations, and what may happen as a result. So if we get a CPI reading year over year below 6.4%, i.e. 6.3% or less, like Wells Fargo and Deutsche Bank have stated, well then they expect the S&P 500 rally between 3 and 3.5%. So this would be very bullish. Probability of this happening around 20%. If we fall in the region of 6.4 to 6.6%, they see this as the most probable outcome. Then we go up 1.5 to 2% on the S&P. And of course, we know BTC heavily correlated with the stock market at this moment in time, and then above 6.6%. So a high inflation print, a bit of a shock. This would see a move down and we would erase a load of those gains. So if you're not currently positioned at all, it's highly likely that we're going to see some major movements on the chart going into the next few hours and beyond. Once we have the CPI data and maybe a good few hours have passed, we can see the trajectory of the market there. And for some, it will then be time to make some bets. If it does come in cool, I will certainly be looking for some longs across the market. Now, another thing to take into account here is that the US dollar currency index, the DXY, is also been on its way down. And this is why everything priced in dollars has been going up. Gold, silver, Bitcoin, stocks, currently at 103, but there's a bit of a support area here down to 102. If it does come down and tests this, again, we have some short-term breathing space. I'll just inverse this one. If you were looking at this chart from a bullish perspective, you would expect it to maybe continue on up here as it seemingly is pushing for higher highs, and 102.5 would be a nice stop off on this chart. So a few confluences there. Invest Answers, James, who's been getting some serious shit this year, he posted this: did someone leak a good CPI number? Bitcoin seems to think so, up $900. And again, I do think this kind of information asymmetry does definitely leak out there. The CPI number has been known for days by insiders. Chinese whispers occurs, and I think that the market does have a good grasp on things and that this CPI data will come in favorable to the bulls. And anecdotally, if you think about this Christmas just passed and the previous one, a lot of people were spending a lot more money in that previous Christmas, whereas this one, everyone's been feeling the pinch. We also have Biden coming and speaking out after this print. He has been speaking after the CPI prints over the last few months, however, so don't read too much into this. But there is a potential he's going to come out and say, look, what we're doing for inflation is working, and maybe he's going to toot his own horn. Then a major thing to be very worried about at this moment in time, trending in business and finance on Twitter, is hashtag bull run, usually a sign that you want to run the opposite direction. So let me know your thoughts down below. Do you think we have a nice bit of a run here towards the end of January? And I'll leave you with this funny Warren Buffett clip: not safe for work, stick your headphones in, gents.
Quick is with Warren Buffett, and
you should see what he's doing right now, Joe. He was rubbing his cock.
well, I shouldn't.
Warren, thank you for being here today. It's good to see you.
Thanks for having me.
Is it hard?
Well, it's strong, but a little softer than it was 6 months ago. But it's down from a very good level.
Is it a decline in confidence, or is it coming off of levels where there was unusual activity ahead of that?
Well, it isn't really down. It's just it leveled off and a little softer maybe now, but with a steeper curve. That is to some extent a curse of size.
Is that particularly because you have a large cock?
Well, that is true.
I've seen it. Guys in the control room, sorry, this is not where I told you I was going, but all right, let me test you on your thick cock.
Okay. Wow.
You thought about that for a second.
I feel my jaws lock up. If you get it all the way, I'll give you my Berkshire Hathaway share.